Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Andrew, and we are the IB English guys. We are continuing our countdown to paper one.
We
This
are.
is text type number 9. This is a student response to travel writing. Mr. Giles, tell us a little bit about that piece we looked at last.
Yeah, we looked at a piece that had embedded advertising. It was about flamenco dancing and flamenco culture in Spain. It was a really sort of evocative and very descriptive and very lavish piece to talk about Spain and what they were offering. But also they were advertising both Marriott hotels and the Chase credit card.
It was pretty tricky. There was a lot going on in there. It was a great text, and the guiding question for that text was as follows. How does the website combine elements of advertising and travel writing to encourage readers to visit Spain? Giles, keywords.
Yeah, the key words, we're thinking about that idea of advertising elements, but also travel writing. We talked about all the different features of travel writing that we might want to talk about. We're also thinking about how there's some embedded things that they're doing to again, sell their product.
Yeah, it looks like this student came up with the following thesis. Through the clever integration of travel writing and advertising techniques, Marriott and Chase Bank highlight the rich cultural heritage of Spain, particularly flamenco dancing. Their goal is clear. Encourage readers to spend money and continue traveling in the post-COVID world.
I love that.
I like it too. What do you like about it?
Well, first of all, they've got the language of the guiding question, which is really intelligent. They're talking about travel writing and advertising techniques. However, they're talking about Marriott and Chase being the authors. That's clever because they're really focusing on how they're trying to sell their product. And again, they have the goal is clear. They want us to spend money and they want us to travel.
Yeah, Mr. Giles, by the way, as part of our countdown, I've noticed this sentence structure several times. I think our students have picked up on this. Their goal is clear, colon, and then the other half. I think that's actually pretty nice.
Yeah,
Tell us about the rudimentary outline, Giles.
Okay, this is ambitious. They're going to first talk about, after their introduction, they're going to talk about the identification of Marriott and Chase and the role that Marriott and Chase are playing in the text.
Yeah,
that's smart.
It is smart. And then I think they're going to move on to talk about some of those exciting elements and reasons to visit Spain. They're going to look at sort of the advertising and travel language around flamenco. Then they'll do the same in looking at architecture and the luxurious hotels.
Yeah, and then again, they're going to talk about the pleasure of dancing and shopping. And again, with shopping, we're going to talk about spending money. And then again, watching flamenco and immersing ourselves in Spanish culture.
Yeah, this is definitely a paper, Mr. Giles. If I were writing this paper, I'd be watching the clock and thinking about maybe if I can't get through it all, I might have to combine some of those later ideas.
Yeah,
so that's something to keep in mind as you're writing.
I like that. I noticed is that some of the paragraphs might have more focus on the advertising part of it, and some of the paragraphs are going to have more focus on the travel writing part.
True. Last thing I want to think about, though, with that many paragraphs, it makes you wonder, are they going to be able to develop this in the amount of time? We'll see how they do, okay?
Yeah.
Looking at the introduction, something that I noticed right away, of course, they anchor into that topic of travel. That's something that we talked about in the introductions. They've done well there. I see the purpose highlighted as well. And I see that Marriott Hotels and Chase Bank. So they've got the authors of the text, they've got the purpose, and they've got the topic. What else do you notice, Giles?
Yeah, I notice, again, they're incorporating the wording of the guiding question in their thesis like we talked about before. And I think that's, again, it's off to a really good start with a good handshake. They're asking a question. I actually really like that in the intro.
Yeah, I want to actually read the first topic sentence aloud, if I may. I think it's actually pretty interesting. It says, visitors to the Afar website looking to learn more about travel must be cautious, as some of the travel writing is actually sponsored by advertisers linked to the travel industry. I like how they have the guiding question, travel writing, that's linked in there. What's their rich idea here, Giles?
Well, the whole rich idea is this sort of almost deceptive advertising element in this particular text. We see this often where we have these things that pose as articles, but actually are advertisements. That's a really good sort of subtle detail that the student is talking, and they must be cautious is good, right?
Must be cautious. And then you can see that underlined phrase, this clever choice is deliberate. So they've made a deliberate choice. They've used small font to make that small title to almost hide from the readers that this is an advertisement disguising
travel
writing.
It's almost like a disclaimer at the they're paying attention to those subtle details. This I think is insightful.
Yeah, they got the association, then the co-branding, Giles. They got the co-branding.
Yeah, co-branding. The idea of co-branding is when two companies join forces to brand each other, Chase and Marriott in this case.
The subtle mention of spending, again, that's good evaluative language. Giles, I feel like this student is doing pretty well at the beginning. I like what I see.
Yeah, this is again that whole idea of the advertising of Chase and Marriott. That's really a central part. Then in the second body paragraph, we have this association, but now we're going to talk about the rich sort of exciting parts of the travel article and the flamenco dancing.
Yeah, I like that. I would have, since they're talking about the travel aspect, Giles, I would have loved to have seen that guiding question, the language of the guiding question in that topic sentence, maybe in saying those words travel writing or something about narrative writing or something to show that they're tackling that aspect of the guiding question.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's good. I do think that the wording of the guiding question, using that to really like be a thread throughout your whole paper is really smart. I do see, however, good attention to language, parallel structure, and the syntax, and also the adjectives. A lot of the things that we talked about in our deconstruction are really here, and a lot of really good, blue references to the text. So they're in the text and extracting information and deconstructing.
Yeah, they are. I think they're in the next body paragraph, Giles. They are a bit more in tune to the guiding question. They are focusing on writing style. Mind you, they don't specify if it's a narrative feature or an advertising feature, but they are focused on the guiding question. But I like that. And of course, they're talking about the many activities that require opulent spending. I like that word opulent.
Yeah, me too.
That's rich vocabulary.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you. And again, the paragraph length is really nice. I think it's got good, it's got a nice flow to it. And to me, I'd rather see these kind of medium-sized paragraphs than big giant paragraphs.
Yeah, I don't think you want to see two big bricks as body paragraphs. I definitely prefer these as well. Again, they have good referencing. In terms of features, I see links and motif, maybe a bit light there with features, Giles. Considering all the textual references, that might be something that I would suggest to the student they might want to look at and see if they can maybe weave another one in there.
Arched, lavish, vaulted, and they could do a little bit more.
Yeah, give me the word adjective or give me just a bit more, a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so then the next body paragraph's talking about the Globetrotters instead of travelers. That's pretty smart. And again, connecting the idea of shopping and spending money, which is a part of this text.
Yeah, I noticed though a trend here, Giles, where this is now the second paragraph where I'm not seeing that rich language of the guiding question. And again, that's not a deal breaker, but I personally, as an examiner, I prefer it. I think it establishes better focus. So not seeing any green for quite some time is slightly worrying, but this student is doing really well.
Yeah, they are. And they're again attacking the language and talking about features and really deconstructing.
Hey, they got your hype. They got your hype before from the last video.
They do. It's good, huh?
Must be your student.
Yeah. No, I think they've got good attention to a range of elements they're definitely paying attention to. And then the last thing they're talking about is going back to the title. That's interesting, the fact that they're actually deciding at the end to talk about the title.
It is interesting, Giles. I wonder why they made that choice. What do you think here?
I think maybe they didn't get to it and they wanted to go back to it.
Yeah, that could be the case. Maybe they missed it and they came back for it at the end. That does happen sometimes. So they kind of take title, Spanish language, and imperative commands. These are all aspects of language. It does make sense to go ahead and put that all in one paragraph. Again, though, I'm not sure if I see a rich idea or the language of the guiding question in the topic sentence.
Yeah. So
what is the rich idea here? Participate. I don't know. Maybe they're encouraging us to participate.
Yeah, the main attraction is participating in flamenco dancing.
It's okay, but it's not great.
But it's about like the idea of experiencing things, right? The experiencing element.
Yeah, another good paragraph. Okay, now green is coming back quite prominently at the end, Giles. We see travel writing, advertisements, and then that phrase blending travel writing and advertising techniques. It looks like they saved it all up for the end, it looks like.
Yeah, and again, they're ending with that whole, that idea of how while we're traveling, we should be using the credit card and going to those particular Marriott hotels. And that's, again, the objective of the text is to promote Marriott and Chase.
Well, and once again, if you watched our intro and conclusion video, we started by talking about Marriott and Chase, and it looks like the student finished the paper in the same way. Ooh. So they've got the bookends as well, Giles. This is a product of our class. It looks like this final paper comes in around 954 words, which is perfect. That's a good length.
Yeah, I think for...
What do you say? Want to score this thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's score it now, Giles. I don't know if I'm feeling 20 on this one. I'm feeling a good paper. I'm not feeling 20 this time.
No, I feel like the understanding, though, is really insightful. They're really connecting to the central idea of how it's an advertisement promoting the product, and they're really using a lot of rich references. So I would put this out of 5 on understanding.
Yeah, I would too. I think they've done a nice job handling the target audience as well as the multiple authors and what they're trying to do here. I think that's not easy to do, and they've done a good job with that. Okay, so I think I'm comfortable going 5 for A as well. Okay, B, I'm not so sure, Giles. I feel like at times as I look through this paper, I want some of these paragraphs to grow a bit. And I'm not sure where or why, but I just feel like I want them to grow. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think they need to elaborate a little bit more on some of the effect of some of the language that's used and to sort of deconstruct them in a little bit more detail.
I feel like sometimes they're kind of like just like listing what they see as opposed to really evaluating and talking about the effects of their choices. I feel that too at times.
Yeah, I would put this at a strong 4.
A strong 4, yeah.
I think it's very good. I think
agree.
It's definitely beyond adequate. The structure, I think, has to do with the guiding question and the focus. So we were a little bit picky with some of the topic sentences. I think I'd also put this at a 4. It's clearly developed and well organized. And easy to follow with good transitions, but I think a little more attention to the guiding question.
Yeah, I almost feel like this student needed about 100 more words, maybe grow one piece of analysis would have really stretched this paper a bit, incorporated the language of the guiding question. I think that would have led him to a 5 for C, but I'm going to go 4 for C as well.
Yeah, and criteria D, it's again, really polished, it's good command, it's got a little bit of voice and asking some questions. I think it's a strong 5 on the language. In my opinion,
so in the end,
academic register.
Yeah, it's got good register, some good choices of vocabulary. I think in the end, we're looking at a 5, 4, 5. Yeah, I think this is an 18, which would push this to the low band of 7. It's a good paper, Giles.
It is.
As Mr. Giles would say, this was written under duress.
Yeah, exactly. And I think all these papers we want to think about, there's some good strengths, there's some things that they would tweak, but again, it's written in a time situation, written under duress. But I get the sense that the writer was really connecting to the text. And at the end of the day, this is what paper one's asking you to do. Connect to the text, be a reader, and think about what is the writer trying to communicate to me, and how can I deconstruct that in a way that shows my deep thinking.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of deep thinking and deconstruction, folks, we've got one more left in the countdown. Thank God. Okay, come back for our next video next week. We're going to look at tabloid articles. I think that's actually a tabloid cover.
Yeah,
we're going to take a look at. Yeah, so make sure you join us for that. See you on the continued and never-ending countdown to Paper One.
Okay, good luck, you guys.
Take care.
Bye.